A few years ago, I reviewed a documentary called John G. Avildsen, King of the Underdogs. It was a really good documentary, all about the director who made some of the best underdog films ever, like The Karate Kid and, of course, Rocky. After that, I became friends with the director of the documentary, and he asked me to review his new documentary, which was all about Rocky. The reason I'm mentioning this is because I like to be as transparent as possible. If you think my friendship with the director would affect my review, then you can take that into consideration as you listen. So to be as fair as possible, I wanted to make sure to mention this up front. Anyway, off to the review. The documentary is called 40 Years of Rocky, The Birth of a Classic. The documentary is about the history of the iconic film and is narrated by the man himself, Sylvester Stallone. I think if somebody else did the voiceover, it wouldn't have had the same impact. Almost all the footage in it is never before seen behind-the-scenes stuff, lots of 8mm footage shot by Avildsen. So watching this and listening to Stallone talk about it, it almost feels like watching a home movie, and I mean that in a good way. It feels like a very personal retelling of how the whole thing came together. You can tell Stallone's very humbled by everything. He pokes fun at himself more than a few times. He's also very generous talking about his co-stars, his admiration for the director, and how he knew he was on to something special. Here was this very low-budget film with an actor no one knew about, and both of them blew up. Rocky being one of the best films of all time, and Stallone being one of the biggest actors of all time. As someone who grew up on the Rocky films and lives just outside of Philadelphia, I've always had a special love of the character, and hearing all this history really is special. My only complaint's the documentary is only 30 minutes long, so it sort of comes off more like a bonus feature for a DVD than a full-fledged documentary. However, that might also be because it flies by. It's engaging from start to finish, and it really shines even more light onto this incredible classic. There was a ton of info crammed into that half hour, and I learned a lot about the production that I didn't know going in. It's easy to recommend, and while it is short, it was 30 minutes of pure entertainment, no filler. Kinda like this review, I guess.